Hello, everybody. So good to see you. It's a pleasure to see you guys tonight. And I am glad that you are in the room and that you decided to join this conversation with us today. Booked, visible, and paid. Welcome to the audacity, I should say, to be booked, visible, and paid. This space was born from one truth, and that there is just like too much gatekeeping involved in our industry. And we can help each other to expand our skills, to elevate our impact, and without the overwhelm. Because as women of color, I think we deserve to be seen and sustained and not just busy or surviving, but booked, visible, and paid. And if you're excited about that, let me know that in the chat, honey. Okay. I think for us in particular, it's a little different for us. I think our needs are very unique. And, we come into spaces that it's like, it feels like we have to fit into those boxes. Like we have to conform, we have to shrink, we've got to prove ourselves to kind of just get in the door. And we're seeing that even more so now with what's happening with Black women, right? Black women have faced some of the highest job losses, and our Latina sisters and Asian sisters are not far behind. And it's not because we're not smart enough. It's because there are systems at play that it just really wasn't built for us. So we've got to figure out what to do within that space, right? And I think what's unique about this is not a space where we're all fighting with each other to like climb the ladder, but we can build, and we can build collective circles. So for me, it's important that we can work in this space where we can learn with each other and not over each other, right? It's not really about fighting for a seat at the table. It's about expanding that table and saying like, come on, sis, like, come on with me. And I want to help you, and it's okay. And that's what this summit is. It's a circle, a collective circle of wisdom, of creativity, of power. And I get to facilitate that. And I'm excited about that, right? And I'm going to pause here for a second. I'm going to invite us all to just take a breath. It's one, the therapist in me, and then two, I need to ground myself too. So wherever you are, if you could take a big breath in for me, big breath in through your nose, big breath in, and let that go. And we're going to do one more big breath in and let that go. Okay, so my name again is Amanda Flood, and I want to introduce you to our guest experts, right? And it's always a funky word, but it's a needed word. And I'm going to start off first with our productivity coach for high performers, Coach Lee. Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl, hey.
Oh my goodness. So welcome to the panel. Let me make sure that I pin you so that everybody can see you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. The pleasure is mine. And then our CEO, therapist, author, and abundance coach, Miss Shawniel Chamanlal. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing well. Hope you all are too.
Yay. Good to see you. Good to have you. All right. And our brand photographer and visionary, Miss Stacy Beaucicaut-Etienne.
You did good there.
Oh, girl, I've been practicing.
Everyone.
Oh, welcome, welcome. So good to have you as well. Oh my goodness. And I hopefully my website queen, SEO queen makes it, Miss Natalia, but she's also a new mom. So I was like, girl, if you can't make it, it's all good.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry my camera is off because I'm breastfeeding my baby right now.
Okay. And that's what we do. We're mamas and we still make it work. So whenever you're ready, girl.
Yeah, but I'm very excited to be here and thank you for having me.
Awesome. So that's Miss Natalia Maganda. And then we also have the founder of the Social Work Wealth Conference and Rich Social Worker, Miss Eva Forde. Hello.
Hey. Hi, everybody. So good to see everybody. And
Yes.
some people I recognize. So, hey, Nads. Hey, Lana.
Oh, we love that. Okay, we family. Okay, so we have a beautiful panel. And if y'all could just drop like an emoji in the chat or like a hi or something like that, because when people come up to the stage, you usually like applause, and we don't quite have that because we're virtual. So just show them some love with a little bit of love and emojis there, okay? Beautiful. Now, I call them our guest experts because they are, and so are you. Every woman here really carries lived experience and expertise, and all of our stories matter. A matter of fact, in the chat, I want you to finish this sentence for me. I am an expert in. So whatever that is, ... fill that in for me. I am an expert in, because we all are, and we all bring something to the table. So put that there for me, please. Yeah. And I know all y'all are dope. And I want you to see it too and say hi to each other. But also know that today we invite you to just kind of lean in and listen deeply and remember that you belong in this space, our collective voice. Like, we are the strategy, we are the story, and we are the solution to being booked, visible, and paid. Okay. But we're going to rock. So I'm going to get into our panel. I'm going to facilitate the discussion. And if you guys have questions as we go along, just drop it for me in the chat and I'll come back to it. But in the meantime, I think you'll love what these ladies are bringing to the circle today. Ladies, y'all are dope, period. And I could run through all of your accolades, but I'm going to start with this instead. What are 2 things that have affirmed your credibility or authority in this space? And not that we've arrived, because we're all constantly growing, but that has reminded you that you are doing what you were meant to do. And we'll open that up to the floor. So give us your 2 things.
I happen to be, my mic is on, so I will just start and just say that I started with Rich Social Worker, and initially it was a blog. It wasn't my love or passion, but people kept telling me I need to be on video. And to answer your question, one of the things that has affirmed me is that over the years, so many people that I don't know have told me how impactful those lessons, the video, the channel has been to them and their lives and their careers. And, they started a business because of something that they saw me do, or they watched me in their class and, was able to maybe get hooked up to another resource. And it's really validated that I'm doing what I was supposed to be doing in that. And then that that YouTube channel and Rich Social Worker has led to other opportunities. And it's just kind of like breadcrumbs. So if I may, I'll pass it on to Shawniel because I saw her shaking her head.
Tag you in.
I was shaking my head because I'm like, that's so good. What I would say is what has affirmed for me is growing my mental health and wellness center and seeing not only the therapists thrive and build their confidence, but also the deep transformation that has happened for clients. And it goes beyond me. Like, I'm just one person, but when you have a team that create that ripple effect for clients, that has just been beautiful to see. And that has led to other opportunities of giving other therapists permission to grow their own mental health practices and centers, right? Before we were told that we were going to end up in nonprofit or hospital. So to be able to be so innovative in the way that we care for people and cultivate leaders is just amazing.
Love that.
And so I want to jump in and say, so even for myself, like as a visual storyteller, so I kind of like, I help women and brands show up powerfully through transformative like imagery. And I help women step into their power, embrace their confidence, and show up boldly in life and in business. So for me, when I think about photography and creating images, it's all about visibility and empowerment, right? So when you ask that question, like what affirms me most in the work, those 2 things for me, the first thing comes to mind is transformation. And secondly, I love what you said, it's the ripple effect, right? So there's nothing like that moment when you look at a photo and you pause and like, oh shit, can I curse?
We all cousins here.
Like you look at the pictures, you're like, oh my God, is that me? It's like you almost see that click and the realization that, where for me, the realization that she's more than just a title that she carries, right? It's more than it's more than a work that she does, right? It's about the life that it's not about the life that she was told that she's supposed to do, right? So for me, it's deeper. It's about like healing, the reclaiming identity and that power. And the ripple effect, like you mentioned earlier, is like when clients reach back out and say, Stacy, those photos give me courage and launch my business, or I finally shared my story and then I'm being invited to speak on a panel, it gives me chills because every time that's when I know that my work is doing exactly what it's meant to do. It's creating movement, visibility, and confidence that extends far beyond the camera, right? So I've learned that when women start seeing themselves differently, everything around them shifts, their posture, their voice, their opportunities, and their presence. So for me, I witnessed that shift from doubt to confidence. I'm reminded that I'm not just creating images, I'm creating impact. I'm helping women step fully into who they are. They just need to see it first.
I'm excited just hearing you. Okay, jumping in there next.
I'll jump in. From there, what I heard as you were speaking was impact. And for me, I would say that me starting this coaching business was based off of what others saw in me. They saw me, quote unquote, doing it all, and they weren't sure how I did it. And they told me I should be a coach. And for a long time, I put it off until pandemic. And then I had the time to do it. And so even now, having started the business, and as we go through life and the ups and downs, I come back to that impact and what others see in me, because there are those times when it gets hard or you're like, am I really meant to do this? while you're working on being, booked, visible, and paid, that you're like, do I keep going? And then out of nowhere, someone who you don't know or something that wasn't even on your radar comes up as an opportunity, and it's the reminder that you're seen. So keep showing up, keep doing it. So for me, the two things that affirm my credibility is, I guess, on both ends, others who saw it in me, who got me here, and then others who at this point I don't know, who see it in me and encourage me to stay here.
Love that.
And I'll jump in. I love what everyone has shared because I think that I can resonate deeply with the confidence that the of how other people see you brings to how you show up for others. Like, and I think that for me, the two things that have affirmed my credibility is having the confidence of having more than 25 people, therapists that have trusted me to build their SEO and to help them get visible through managing their SEO for them. And also experiencing niching down, which can feel very scary, and claiming to want to be the web designer for therapists. And now being here in front of you and like talking about these things reminds me that every time I help a client niche down and also claim, the niche that they want to serve is the same thing as doing a photo shoot and seeing yourself through another lens and like fully owning that new power that you are going to like help someone have a really deep transformation when you stop trying to serve everyone and really go deep and fully to the people that you can serve the best. So yeah, that would be mine.
So many good things in the room. And I'm curious about like the journey a little bit, right? Because getting on this path to being booked, visible, and paid sometimes means stepping outside of the career that you've known. And what I find interesting about this panel is not all of you are in like traditional full-time jobs anymore. How did you know it was time to make that move, right? Like to niche down, to go after what people saw in you or what was starting to feel good as you kind of got out there with people? How did you know it was time? Or if you're still in your full-time job too, how did you decide that it was okay to stay put and maybe build a different way?
I unmuted, and I thought this is a great segue because I think I'm Nadine Sinclair, you see there, Coach Nads. For a long time, I actually pushed it away. So my background is human resources. I've been in human resources for many, many years, like probably 25 plus years. And the aspect of human resources that I would push away and I'd run, literally tell people to go, oh, go see Stacy, go see Raina, go see, Eva, was that kind of coaching piece, the piece that included some aspects of psychology. And then one day it like kind of hit me that, girl, that's your gift and talent. It just came natural to me. People would come into my office and they'd start sharing something, be it personal or otherwise, and they'd be like, why did I just share that with you? And then they would say like whatever I said to them got them inspired, got them to shift where their thinking was, their mindset, etc. And so people over and over have said that I've supported them in guiding them through like the fog and into the light. And so typically, I mean, how I would express it is that I'm really facilitating conversations to reveal the greatness that's within you by creating a safe space.
Okay, listen, Miss Nadine. Okay, I appreciate your excitement and jumping up in there. She said, "Let me tell you how it happened for me."
Because sometimes
Miss
we
Nadine,
block
hold
it.
on one
Sorry.
moment, because I have to move these women along because I have to work within a certain time frame.
Sorry.
People here, and I will leave some space at the end for the comments. And that's something I love that you're excited that you're like me. Let me tell you too, right? And I love that you're resonating with. I noticed that what I was doing for other people was really a gift in itself, and that could be something that I lean into, right? And I think that that's amazing, and I think that's what some of us has to recognize is like that gift within us, and how do we lean into that? And I want to just bounce back to the panel, like as we notice these things in us, how do we balance like the decision to stay within our job and build, or like how did you decide to kind of jump out there, right? And I'll bounce to Eva first.
Thanks. I'm not actually sure who all is here in terms of, are you entrepreneurs? I think a lot of people would be either thinking about having their own businesses or things like that. And so I would say for me, I had, like I said, I did start with, I left a job where my supervisor, my director was not really supporting me. And I just didn't feel like I was growing and I was showing up and not giving my best. And again, I kept hearing and feeling the pull to grow and kind of expand outside of that proverbial 9 to 5. I was teaching, so it wasn't actually 9 to 5, but it was before I quit the job. It was just kind of experimenting, testing the waters, talking with people, and really allowing that there's kind of an inner knowing and a pull, I would say, not a push, but a pull. And you'll know if you feel that pull. I see Coach Lee nodding. I see Cecilia nodding, right? You know, when you feel that pull that, maybe I can, try and experiment over here. So I don't think that there's, one size fits all. Everybody has their journey and every journey is unique. But again, for me, it came from dissatisfaction. I was dissatisfied with where I was. Not everybody's dissatisfied. Some people just, they want to get better and better. They're inspired to move. I was kind of depressed where I was and was just looking for, how do I get out of this? How do I grow? How do I help others?
Yeah, I was definitely workplace depressed too. So
Mm.
worked my way out.
I'll take a stab at this one. So I'm all about manifesting and abundant mindset. And sometimes when you set an intention, like you want to pursue something, there's a discomfort, but then God starts moving things. So for me, I knew the vision that I wanted to start my own business. I'm a recovering perfectionist, so I decided to take the slow route. I thought it was slow looking back, but then things would just happen, like things would just, the right opportunity, maybe something that was uncomfortable. Like I had a boss accuse me of leaving. She was like, I know you're leaving. And I was like, I wasn't about to leave. You know what? But since you said it, the door's wide open, right? I remember even an opportunity when I got to a job and I knew I wasn't supposed to get into another job. I had just moved and I applied for the job. I got all the way to accepting the job references. And then later it, they retracted it. And I couldn't understand why. But I was only taking that job out of fear, right? Because I knew I needed to be running my own business. So later on, I won an award and I saw the president of that organization. I said, thank you for rejecting me.
Ooh.
Because if you didn't reject me, I wouldn't be here, right? So sometimes the fear will be there, but God is going to move you in the direction you have to listen, right? Listen to those opportunities. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna jump to you, Coach Lee, and then we'll shift.
Yes, I would say for me, full-time criminal defense attorney, still there, still in the practice, have no plans of leaving. Um, like I was saying earlier, like others saw this in me and told me I should do this. For years, people told me I should be a coach, and I told them I didn't have time. Looking back, like the reality is I really didn't have the time. If I don't believe I know you talked about manifestation, but like I don't believe in hustling and grinding. I'm not anti-hard work. And so for me, it came from the, I guess the idea or the thought of people were telling me they saw this in me. I didn't necessarily see it in me because I didn't realize that people struggled with planning. Like I'm a productivity and accountability coach. So I'm all about helping you find this hidden time in your day. I didn't realize people struggled with reverse engineering essentially. Taking this end result and figuring out how to get there. Like I need to get this done. How do I do it? Fast forward to, like I said, the pandemic. A week into, like, the world shutting down, I was bored. Thankfully, I didn't lose my job, but because criminal defense, like, yes, people are getting arrested, but not as much, it was now I have this time, the thing that I did not have before. I was bored. I love to learn. The algorithm started algorithming and, showing me all these ads for coaching. So I signed up for all these different webinars about what is coaching? Like, what is life coaching? Because honestly, I didn't even know what it was really. Heard about it, but it wasn't to me that big a thing before like 2020. And so I made it halfway through that first video. It was all of 3 to 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, this is what coaching is. I see why people say that I should do this. So for me, it was not knowing that there was a need or that there was a struggle. Other people realizing the need or the struggle and that, hey, you could be this solution. And so deciding in the course of the pandemic and having the time, the thing that I said I did not have, to say or to show up and to do it. And it served me at work because at work, they're like, oh, you're not organized. You're trying to figure out how to stop, working late and bring work home. Go see her. Go see her. Go see her. Like a couple of new attorneys recently started and they literally, one guy sat down with me for like an hour, hour and a half. And I broke down to him what I think he should do to get a handle on his cases so that he can stop, working late and bring your work home. So that's where it came at for me.
I love it. So we can be where we are and be exceptional there, right? And also create this path. Or for some of us, like we get there by the situation, right? And sometimes we grow out of things, right? Sometimes we have to be rejected from things. I want to come back to this place of like passion, because I think passion and starting to figure out that we're good at something can get us started. But we know longevity requires strategy. So how did y'all figure out what to double down on and what to let go as you grew in your career or your business? And I'll throw this to Shawniel and then we'll hear from Natalia.
Well, I love that question. When working with clients who are in the idea stage or they're ready to take the leap, I always tell them, they're like, can I dream big? I'm like, dream big with strategy. Like, what is the thing that you want to do? And is it in alignment to your values, to who you are, right? Not comparison because someone else is doing it, right? So when you are clear on what you want to do, then you have to take those aligned action steps to move you through it. Sometimes we'll chase the shiny objects, right? And we're doing all the things, right? And you have to stop and pause and say, what are the things that are draining me or moving me further away from my goals, right? So the clarity that you have, setting those intentional goals and steps, and just checking in with your body. Like my body these days, if it feels like a no in my body, I'm not doing it, right? If it feels like it's gonna, pull me away from the coins or my passion, I'm not doing it, right? So no more people pleasing, no more of that, right? It has to be in alignment and it has to feel good. Yeah.
I love that. I think for me, the things that have helped me understand what to double down on is a lot with what you are saying right now in pursuing something that's like marketing from alignment. But I'm the type of person that when I quit my job, I joined a coaching program to learn how to launch a funnel in 60 days. And then like everything, like the shiny object syndrome, right? And then you run into the rabbit hole. And I would say sometimes scarcity mindset of just pursuing that goal without like reminding yourself to enjoy the journey of why you're building your business. So I was trapped a lot in this cycle of like trying to build my business from a place of scarcity mindset and just, going after that result versus enjoying the journey of what I like to do for marketing. And if marketing doesn't feel comfortable, it's never going to actually be magnetic, is sort of what I've learned. And I think that the biggest lesson in terms of understanding what works for you is also being very straightforward in tracking actually what works and having also the character to implement different strategies and understand what works for you, because I've done it all. And from my journey, I've done like, okay, is posting on Instagram worth it? Or should I do ads? Or should I do collaborations? Or should I do SEO? But if you don't actually try something for like 3 or 6 months and consistently do it with all of your intention, and then see the results and say, okay, I did Instagram for 90 days and this is what resulted in, like, okay, a couple of more followers, a couple of more leads, but did this actually like convert into sales? Yes or no? Like if you don't have the answer to those questions, you can't just complain that your marketing isn't working for you, because you have to like track the data. And if you can track the data from your website and like say, okay, this traffic is converting into leads and they booked a discovery call and then they became a client, and that becomes data that you can use, then you can simply release all of the pressure and say, the next 6 months, I'm just going to keep doing what's working, and I'm going to scratch off, and I'm not going to continue posting daily because it's draining energy. And you can just make those shifts and adjust your marketing strategy to what feels good in your body, but also what is also data driven is what I would say.
Ooh, I actually really love that, because a lot of times we go with our feelings and our feelings are not facts, right? She said go with the data. So, and also to stick with things. And I think sometimes we struggle with that sticking with things part, right? And that's a great place to look at, well, what's the mindset there that's happening? And someone mentioned the scarcity mindset too. And sometimes that is what's driving us. So are you bouncing from one thing to the next? Slow down. What's happening there? Did you actually spend some time implementing what you've learned, right? Or implementing what you've invested in, right? I think many of us, we don't get to that place of really being visible with what we do, and we have to be visible in order to be found. But sometimes there's some issues with showing up, and we're hiding, whether it's we're hiding behind the fear, not feeling like enough, not, I'm not ready enough, the procrastination, I'm not enough. Those things can really get in the way of our progress and kind of keep us, I think, sometimes too distracted or going down that rabbit hole. So I would love for one of our panelists to tackle this. What's one mindset or visibility shift that really helped you step out and also get comfortable with being seen, or that you can share to help the other women in the room, maybe with telling their story?
I can jump in. For me, the biggest shift was realizing that visibility isn't vanity, it's service, right? So for years, I stayed behind the camera, cheering everyone else on while I quietly was hiding myself. And so I told myself, like, I'm the one who captures the story and not the one who tells it. But then I realized that hiding, I was dimming the light I was trying to help others find, right? So in 2019, I decided to walk the talk, right? And I made some drastic changes that were extremely symbolic. So I wanted to strip away what I was using to hide and embrace who I truly was. And when I did that, I felt free, right? And since then, I've learned that showing up authentically is the most powerful marketing strategy there is. For me, my belief is people connect to real, not perfect, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like I am a person who is extremely authentic, and I'm a very emotional person. I'm very, and I show up in my authentic self at all times. And I think that is what most of my clients actually connect with, is that, like, I show up as I am, Stacy B, that's me, and I think people connect with that, the authenticity of me.
I think I could add that for me, it's been like healing that mindset shift of the fear of failure and like healing that relationship with money is sort of what I want to like communicate, because when I started my business, I remember that I was always feeling fearful, like it's not going to work out. I'm spending all this money. I'm investing in this course. I might buy this service or this, coaching or whatever. And then you feel like you're putting your money down the drain. But I feel that that's because you're not believing in yourself enough to actually make it happen. And when you heal that, and when you fully invest in yourself because you own and you trust your capacity to build your business, everything else will like flow and come to your life. I'm also a firm believer of manifesting and trusting the process and all of that. But I remember that back then someone told me, like, what if I told you that like in 5 or 10 years, everything that you're dreaming is actually going to work out for you? Like, why do you decide to stress while you're building your business? And I'm like, you're right. Like, I wouldn't be stressed if I knew that in 5 or 10 years, like I am going to have this income goal fulfilled, etc. But like, if you don't believe in your capacity to reach that goal, you're going to suffer in the process. And I think that that's been the biggest takeaway for me, like working internally to be able to like work on that confidence to market yourself from a place of alignment and not from fear of failure.
Well, honey, do you trust your ability to build your business? And if y'all are bold enough, you could answer that in the chat for me, okay? And while y'all do that, we're going to go around the room real quick, because I want to make sure that you guys listening really get some concrete things. And there's already been so much that's been dropped. If you're paying attention, hopefully you're writing and taking notes. But for my ladies, what's one visibility or marketing tip that really helped you grow your brands, right? To help you to be visible, to help you find your audience, or to grow your income? Throw it out there real quick. What would you put out there?
I'd say for me, somebody put it in the chat, and it's basically almost that, saying yes more, being willing to do it, to do it afraid, to pitch myself. When opportunities come, be willing to throw it out there to see, throw that spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah, somebody was just telling me the other day. She's like, yeah, just say yes and figure it out later.
Literally, yes.
And Coach Lee, you said something, saying yes more. For me, it was saying yes to myself and getting out of my way and getting on camera. Nobody, well, some people do, but a lot of people I talk to, they're like, oh, I don't want anybody to see me. I hate my voice. And we have all of these stories before we get on video. And I had those as well, even though everyone was telling me I needed to do video. And that was a game changer for me. And doing it uncomfortable, but still doing it. So, not believing the thoughts that came up in my head, or maybe not listening to them, or just saying, be quiet. I've got to publish this. And yeah, that's where everything kind of grew from.
Practicing and just doing.
Just doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other suggestions there? I see believing in myself and my abilities. Yeah. Anything else?
I think for me, it's also been what others have said, but I call it messy marketing. So it's sort of like just putting yourself out there with what you feel confident to showcase right now and giving yourself permission that your brand can evolve. Because I see this anxiety come up all the time, like, oh, like maybe I want to do this, but because I want to do this, I don't want to like show it yet, or until it's perfect, or until I have the perfect copy or the perfect offer or the perfect photo shoot. And then you push it down your to-do list and it stays there years and you never launch your website. So you can launch your website or your business and your visibility with what feels good now, and you'll eventually find your niche or your true calling in the process as well.
Yeah, I think in alignment with Eva, it's like saying yes to yourself. So giving yourself permission to just do the thing and put it out there anyway and work through it.
Yeah. And just to add to that, the marketing piece, right? It's like, I say that I don't post for the sake of content, right? I post to create connection. So I love sharing like real life moments, whether it's my son that's heading back to college after 2 years, a 2-year break, or celebrating my 23-year wedding anniversary, or my fur baby Zuri acting like she's the one who gave birth to me, right? Like, I think it's important to show up as your true self, because that's what people connect with, just being real, right?
Permission to be real. Yeah. I think for me, like I would say was understanding like there's a difference in the phases in how we market from like growing your audience to nurturing them to converting to sales. And I think at the beginning I spent a lot of time like educating. Like we all want to like help people. So we're putting out all the tips and all of that stuff, the how-tos. And I think we forget that like we're also a business. So we have to spend as much energy on the nurturing side and the sales side too. And I think the sales side tends to be uncomfortable for most of us. So we kind of avoid that. And then, that's where we can kind of run into issues from the business perspective too, right? And I'm curious for our audience, what's the hardest part for you? Is it like the growth and connecting to other people? Is it like nurturing these relationships? Or is it the sales part? Just drop it in the chat for me. Growth, nurturing, or sales? And as you do that, my panelists will keep rolling with the sales side and getting paid because we all love to get paid. And we all have like all these great skill sets, right? But learning how to monetize them, I think that's the part that gets complicated sometimes, especially when you've like been taught to give or serve first. So how have you really monetized your skills and how has it positioned you for more paid opportunities?
I can, oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I can just share that similar to what Lee was also saying, that people like accidentally tell you that you have a skill and you sort of have to charge for it. I have a funny story that I charged $50 for my first ever website design because it felt so stupid to charge for it. And for me, it was like, why am I going to charge for something that for me is like so easy? And then like I'm super tech savvy, but like maybe at the beginning I didn't have the patience to like explain to someone like my mom how to use, Google Drive or things like that. But when I saw this constant need that a lot of people like are not tech savvy and they needed someone like me to manage their website, to manage all the boring tech things, I just decided to be the tech channel for people. And that's when my business literally exploded, because it's like accepting the natural gift that you have and stop putting resistance to it, because maybe there was a part where, okay, I'm not so patient, but if the universe is sort of sending me this message that there's a lot of people in my life that could benefit from me being very tech savvy, why would I block myself to more abundance through that? So that's like when I accepted that and I said, okay, I'm going to like use these skills that come natural to me to build an offer that's like a sweet spot for people who don't want to manage their websites, don't want to learn SEO and things like that. It just came to me, and that's how I sort of like monetized a lot more in terms of just doing something beyond web design and serving people in that deeper need. So that's a little bit of my story.
Thank you.
I love people coming for the need. I remember getting a lot of requests of, can I pick your brain? Can I take you out for coffee? And you say yes to that, but then there's eventually a time where like, I can't have no more coffee and my brain is just
You have no
picked.
more
So I
coffee?
think it's time for me to put a price on that, right? And whatever price you choose, whether it's $50 to start, right? You realize, wow, I have a framework. This is something that is providing that transformation and results. And so you start pricing from that transformation and it builds your confidence, right? And then the other thing as a therapist, I remember before I started speaking, I would say the same thing over and over and over again in sessions. And I'm like, you know what? More people could hear this, right? This can go outside of the therapy room and more people need to hear this, right? So putting a price point on that, and it was transformational. And so I realized, okay, I got some skills. I could diversify these
Do
skills, right?
something with it.
So that's how it started.
And
Okay.
I would just add, before I started to charge, I did a lot of studying of the online business space. And so I saw what other people were doing first. And a few concepts that really stuck with me that I like to share is that this is a value exchange. It's just a value exchange. And if you have a job, that value exchange is you. You're the one. you are the product or service, and they are paying you. So that's one concept that kind of helped me to step outside. It's like, oh, whether a job is paying me or I remove that job, that middleman, and someone else is paying me directly, it's the same thing. And then that concept of value exchange. I wouldn't expect, a doctor that's, doing open heart surgery on me. I wouldn't expect her to not charge me. Like there's a cost to that. And I save marriages and I save people's sanity and I help people save money. Like I also have that same value. It may not be, I might not be doing open heart surgery, but it's still offering value. So that's the way I like to think about it. And that's how I started. That's how I started getting comfortable myself before I actually, charged anybody for anything.
So would you say you have to understand your value to be able to position that better, or the understanding comes by like exploring how like other people are
That
doing
part.
other things?
Well, no, I would say that it really it is a journey. It can be a journey for people. I think when I started, I was following real experts who had the bells and whistles, they had teams, they had everything, and little old me, they're telling me, you can charge $5,000. And I was like, I can? Nobody bought me for $5,000 because I
Right.
didn't actually understand. I didn't understand how to package, how to position. I wasn't at a $5,000 value level.
Yeah.
I honestly was not,
Mhm.
but I didn't know that. And
Right.
so I had to hear it, learn it, go back to the drawing board. Okay, maybe 2,000. Okay, maybe 1,000, maybe 300, maybe 20. Like, just try to figure out. So it was a process and a journey. Now, years later, I get it. And I'm as comfortable deciding to charge someone $100 as I am to charge somebody $10,000. Like, I'm as comfortable because I understand my value. I understand how to weigh the context and the circumstances and all the things, right? But it was a journey. So, and I have all of that learning and knowledge from others and my own experience. So
Yeah, and I love that because it can be fluid, like what you're saying between like the 100 and like whatever it's 5,000, right? It can just depend on like the situation and the need. But I think also going back, I think Natalia said this, it's like, well, what also fits you? And maybe that's where you have to start too, right? Maybe you're starting at what feels comfortable, but then don't be afraid to like push that sometimes and ask beyond that. But you have to know your capacity. Like you can't be at a 2 capacity trying to work at a 10 capacity, because then that's where we get into trouble. Work your capacity and kind of build from there. All right, so I'm going to keep us moving because we're almost done, you guys. I'm so grateful that you are really just connecting with us. And if it's going well for you, just let us know in the chat, okay? Sometimes we don't know how we rock it when we're up here with you guys. So I'm going to just continue with you, Eva. I'm going to jump to this bit on collaboration and connection and community, because it is really hard to grow alone. And sometimes it feels that way depending on what we do. And sometimes it's hard to connect to like-minded people. Sometimes it's just something within us as well. But what has really helped you to build sustainable and genuine partnerships, especially in a world where like trust can be tricky?
Thank you for that. Good question. And I've been having this conversation a lot recently around the interconnectedness of us all. We are, and because Amanda, you just said sometimes it can be hard to grow alone. We're not supposed to grow alone. Like, we were not born alone, and our existence is dependent on other people. So there's that. But I want to just highlight Shawniel, Nadine, Ilana, and you, Amanda, because I've collaborated with all of you women, and I have a standard of working with people who are generous and who have a heart for service and for giving. And I think that the way I approach relationships, whether I'm just meeting someone or working with them, is I crave that connection. Also, maybe I have a little bit of an unfair advantage. My personality type just kind of leans into people and connection. I know not everybody likes the people. I get it. I don't always
like work, but it's a little tricky outside of work. But yes,
I get it. But yeah, I really lean into the relationship, and from that relationship, then is there synergy there beyond to maybe work together and collaborate? But again, I lean into from that relationship. Is this person generous? Is this person a Shawniel or an Amanda or a Nadine or an Ilana? Like, is this person someone who is, like you said, gatekeeper, Amanda, or are they, sharing their inside tips or what they just heard or what they just learned? Those are the types of people that I love to be around. And I really believe we get to create it the way we want it. Especially if you're starting your own business, or if you have your own, even if it's a side hustle or something, you get to call the shots. You get to decide who you work with, even who you accept money from, right? You don't have to work with jerks. You don't have to, accept people in your space in that way who are not collaborative. And so I could say more, but I'm going to pass it back to you, Amanda.
The choice is yours. But like it's still in alignment, right? And I love like the genuine service-based bit. And I think it's been hard in the business space because they work differently. And I think that's why we have to be careful when we do go down rabbit holes and who we follow when we're growing, because not everybody's aligned, right? Just like you'll see it in your careers and stuff, like not all your supervisors are aligned and will give you good advice. Not all the people in your circle are aligned and will give you good advice. So I think you do have to move with what feels good to you and that like reciprocal energy, but definitely it's okay to kind of put yourself out there, right? Natalia, do you want to jump in on this really quickly, just in terms of growth and positioning? And
Yeah, sure. So for me, like collaboration is something that I've pursued after I started healing my relationship with money and with wanting everything instantly. Because what I want to explain is that I think that spending quality time nurturing your relationships has definitely impacted my business. And when I started like, paying more attention to actually connecting with humans, doing things like this, being in a summit, or I also hosted like my own, marketing bundle last year. Sorry, at the beginning of this year. It's like, it's investing time that sometimes like if you're someone that's impatient and you want the immediate result, you might not see that it's actually going to pay off a lot more than what you think, because you are showing up like with energy and with intention, and not doing it like just because you want the subscribers or you want, the visibility, and not necessarily to connect with the other people there. So finding events that are also something that is in alignment with you is something that you have to look for. And for me, it was like a little bit hard in terms of like finding a space where I could put myself visible in front of therapists, where there's a lot of web designers in the world. So when there's something, or when you want a space or to create a like collaboration and connection and it doesn't exist, doing it yourself also puts you visible. And that's what I also wanted to like explain. Like I said, okay, there's no like private practice marketing little bundles. So I'll do that event and I'll invite therapists to collaborate with me and I'll look for them directly. So sometimes you have to like take the lead in creating those spaces so that you can make yourself visible if they don't exist, and not put yourself like an excuse of there's nothing there, so I can't market myself, but instead step in the shoes of I'll make the events so that I can market myself as well.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And quickly in the chat, I'm going to give y'all 45 seconds to drop in the chat. What kind of partnership or collaboration are you looking for right now? So if it comes to you quickly, put it there, because you never know if it's in the room with you, right? And be open to putting it out there, just like you should be open to doing things or being as brave as Natalia and creating things. I met her because of her bundle, right? So that was like a collaboration and partnership, right? So a lot of the women on this panel I met just by engaging in different things. I don't remember how I met Shawniel, but I didn't know her, and one day I did. We just did a lot of things together. I was at the social work summit, whatever, right? So it's like you just never know. One of my best people that I collaborate with, I met her at a brunch, and I wouldn't recommend this, but we ended up going in on a lease for our practice. I didn't know her last name. She didn't know mine. I just met her at the brunch. She was like, "This is what I want to do." I was like, "Yeah, this is what I'm doing." And it just kicked off, and we've done so many things together, right? And it just started really was just more like an energetic connection, and God knows what he's doing when he moves people together. But I didn't know her like that, but it's because I went to the brunch, right? So just by being in this space, you may find what you need as well. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there sometimes, right? Collaborating on retreats. Nadine, I do retreats all the time. Holler. Yeah. All right. All right, that's your 45 seconds. So now scroll back up and see if you see something there that makes sense for you. And then I want you to just respond to that person, and maybe you can just kind of take note and maybe follow up with that person afterwards, right? And we're gonna sort of close it in now because I do want to be mindful of the time. And we've gone a bit, okay? And we could talk all day, but we do have to end at some point. So this summit, speaking of retreats, is sponsored by Renew, Connect, Restore Retreat. So make sure to check that out. Our 2026 retreat is we're booking for that now. We're going to Costa Rica. So I think as ambitious, high capacity, like women, like we are driven, and I think we work differently and we rest differently. So that's always a great space if you want to check that out. And then also, as we're wrapping up, I do want to hear from some of you ladies, what does balance look like? Because some of us are super driven. We are trying to balance all these parts of our lives, from work to motherhood. That's why you don't see Natalia's face right now, because she's doing her mama duties, okay? And growth, all of those things. What does balance or rest look like for you? I'll throw it to Alicia, then after you, Stacy.
For me, balance is wholeness. It's not necessarily 50-50, it's wholeness. So if that means one area of your life needs 70% of your attention, but you give 30% to the other area, you're whole. So to me, and right now in this season, it's the reminder that balance is wholeness. My word for this month was reset. And so now that I've reset, and as I'm preparing for November and to go on to the next, as we're winding down this year, it's reminding myself that balance is wholeness. And at some point in time, and at different points and seasons, some things need more of your attention, but make sure that you show up in the areas that you need to show up in whatever capacity you can to make sure that you're whole, that you don't neglect for the sake of balance or doing it all.
Mm.
I'd love to jump in and say that for me, balance is slowing down, because as someone who wanted everything very instantly and quickly, slowing down has definitely allowed myself to ground myself in the present moment and prioritizing what you can do, what can wait for another year, for another year's to-do list while you're becoming a mom, and things like that, and not losing your focus, but taking slow, intentional steps every year with the capacity that you can.
Oh gosh, like y'all are just so beautiful. Cut it out.
I would,
Go
can I
ahead,
interrupt
Shawniel.
too?
Yes,
I've
yes.
also learned that being ambitious and chasing the next thing on the goalpost, that rest also leaves space for joy, right? To be able to have joy in what we're doing, whether it's work or our lives outside of being, professional, and knowing that some seasons it's expansion, right? Like, but even in that stillness, right, you have the joy, and it also leaves for the creativity for whatever you're continuing to pursue. So stillness does not mean being unproductive. It just allows you to have more space.
That's a good memo to self. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Listen, I'm going to ask for you guys again in the chat, as well as our panelists, if you guys can leave your best link. So wherever you think you're most active, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Instagram, things like that, Facebook. So we can also follow and connect with each other. So this way we can also see what's going on with each other. If you catch someone's name, just jot their name down so you can make sure that you follow up with them. We had some great asks in the comments for what we needed, and maybe you're not sure. So at least you can follow and maybe reach out afterwards, right? In terms of what's the connection or the collaboration that you need. All right, so drop those links. And then I'll segue in like 2 minutes. I want to give you guys a chance to do that, and we'll take some questions. Okay, so I mean, again, like, phenomenal panelists. Thank you so much for your honesty and your drops today. I know y'all love them, and I won't interrupt the links to ask for like anything else. Let's keep dropping y'all links, right? But also know, like, this is just the beginning. The rest of the week we have breakout sessions. It's kind of like if y'all went to a conference, you'd be like, okay, this was the opening. Like, let's go to X session, right? Every day you're going to get an email with the link for that session. Everything from SEO and storytelling to networking, offer stacking, managing your energy, managing your fears, and manifesting what you want. You're going to have individual sessions with each one of these ladies and really get some great gems from them so you can continue your learning and your growth. Right. So look out for that. I think this right here is what it looks like when we come together and we center our voices and we figure out how to help each other and how to lead from community and not competition. Okay. So your only job is to check your emails, go follow all those links. Okay. Check it every day. The breakout sessions, it's just, you're going to be able to view it on YouTube at 7 p.m. EST. And you'll be able to see each of those topics as we go along. The first one is uncomplicating your SEO with Natalia. So she's going to help you be found, booked, and paid. She's going to help the opportunities come to you, and in some very, very simple ways. Okay, so that's tomorrow at 7 p.m. So just look out for that. All right, hopefully we click it. I'm just going to take like 2 questions because we're already at the top of the hour and I want us to be able to get out of here. So I think I saw a hand raised. So raise your hand if you have a question, because I'm not going to scroll back through all of this. Go ahead, Raina.
Hello, hi, how are you? Thank you so much for this, by the way. This was so informative and really inspiring. So I'm Reina, I'm a licensed creative art therapist. And my question is really about like when what I really worry about is like the growth can happen very quickly, like a lot of you said, but the nurturing is a little on the scarier side because it kind of starts to phase out. And then also, I struggle with the guilt that I feel going into my own business because I've worked with nonprofit for most of my career, like really 12 years. And how did you tackle that? And because I worked in nonprofit, it's been very difficult to kind of get out of the guilt of like, I'm not giving back to my community by taking this time for me. Does that make sense?
Sure. Okay. So,
yeah.
So it's any other panelist who wants to jump in there quickly. So the guilt of taking money from our community, as well as kind of stepping out, I think, especially when you've come from like a nonprofit space where I essentially we're not leading by like money and earning. How would you guys handle that?
So this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And I would just say that that has everything to do with our our thinking and our programming and the belief that money is scarce. There's a lot of money in the world. There's a lot. And I ran into a woman who's the executive director of a nonprofit the other day, and she shared with me that she was the executive director of a nonprofit. And I said to her, "Oof, how how's the budget looking?" Because I was seeing so many of my colleagues complaining about losing this grant, losing that, and she was like, "We're fine."
Yeah, that's happening to my grant right now, actually. For
Well,
yeah.
yeah, but her response was very different. She was like, "Yeah, we're fine. There's always more money." And I was reminded, she's right, there's always more money. This is not the first or second or millionth time that money is being redistributed and adjusted.
Right.
And what are we going to do? We're going to do like we always do. We're going to find a way. We're resilient, but outside of just us being resilient, there is, and Shawniel is really good for this, manifesting, but there is this, there's a belief around money and how much there is, and there that, oh, if we don't have enough, then we can't give enough to others, or there's a limited amount. And it's that kind of thinking that actually perpetuates the experience of not enough money in our lives. And so I really want to encourage you to do work on yourself around that micro work of, what do I really believe about money? Do I believe that there's not enough, or there's not going to be enough? And how can I shift my thinking, my perspective, my experiences? What other examples can I surround myself with outside of just, this one example that's in my face right now? Let me go research other people with other experiences that have more than enough, because that's going to open me up to being able to see and accept the possibilities. So I understand. I definitely understand. I've been where you are. I think a lot of people also have. But for those of us who have kind of come into the light and seen, like, oh, not only is there more than enough, but we also, what we have to bring and offer is valuable, and we can charge for that, and we don't have to apologize for that, because people will pay. They might not pay you if you feel like, oh no, they shouldn't pay me, but they'll pay someone else who knows their worth and who knows how to put a dollar amount to that worth. They'll pay them. They'll find the money. It'll come. There's a lot more that's there, but I'll just leave you with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's when it'll piss you off, when you see who they paid to come and do it.
Right? And not half as good a job as you would have done.
Right. Man. Say yes, figure it out later. All right. Any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Rena. Okay, so y'all are good on questions. Okay, all right. So I hope y'all captured who you needed to capture. I'm trying to like go back and click on everybody's LinkedIn and all of those things. And definitely make sure you follow the speakers and connect, and their information will be coming through in the emails, as well as some freebies and goodies and things for you guys. Awesome. Panelists, anything else y'all want to share before we kick out and rock out here? Okay, y'all are good. Y'all are filled. Okay, all right. Audience, are y'all filled? How was this for y'all? Tell them how y'all feel. Oh,
It's coming through.
yes. Oh my goodness.
And can we thank Amanda for pulling this together?
Oh, I appreciate that, honey.
Yes.
I can't tell you how much has been going on in the background.
Yes. Shout out.
Oh, such a pleasure. All right. So y'all tell y'all friends y'all missed out, but they can still sign up and get the breakouts after this, because really is some great gems coming to you guys. So such a pleasure. And we'll see you guys. I'm sorry I didn't get to hear everything. Don't worry, it's gonna come. Yes, the replay. Yes, the replay is gonna come. I want to go ahead, Alana, don't let it stop you. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right. Thank you, everyone, again. And we will see you all soon. I almost don't want to go say goodbye, but we have to. Panelists, y'all smile so I can take a picture. All right, smile. Yay. Oh, my goodness, audience. Thank you guys for joining.